चैतन्य चरितामृत आदि लीला अष्टम परिच्छेद 24। कृष्ण नाम करियोपो राधेरो विचारो कृष्ण नाम करियो कृष्ण बोलिले अपराधी ना होई विकारो कृष्ण बोलिले अपराधी ना होई विकार कृष्ण नाम करे अपराधीर विचार कृष्ण बोलिले अपराधीर ना होई विकार। There are offenses to be considered while chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one doesn't become ecstatic if there is aparadha. Purport. It is very beneficial to chant the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda before chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Because by chanting these two holy names, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, one immediately becomes ecstatic, and if he then chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he becomes free to offenses. There are 10 offenses to avoid chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The first offense is to blaspheme great personalities who are engaged in distributing holy name of the Lord. It is said in Shastra, Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Sar Pravartan. One cannot distribute the holy names of Hare Krishna Mahamantra unless is empowered by Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, one should not criticize, blaspheme a devotee who is thus engaged. The Padma Purana states, Sadang Nindaha Namnaha Paramang Aparadham Vitanute Jataha Khyating Jatang Katham Us Sahate Tad Vigarham. To blaspheme the great saintly persons who are engaged in preaching the glories of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the worst offense at the lotus feet of the holy name. One should not criticize a preacher of the glories of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If one does so, he is an offender. The name of Prabhu, who is identical with Krishna, will never tolerate such blasphemous activities, even from one who passes as a great devotee. The second Namaparad is described as follows. Shivasya Sri Vishnur Jaya Guna Namadi Sagalam Dhiya Bhinnam Pasyet Sakhalu Hari Namahito Karaha. It is in this material world the holy name of Vishnu is all auspicious. Vishnu's name, form, qualities and pastimes are all transcendental, absolute knowledge. Therefore, if one tries to separate the absolute personality of Godhead from his holy name or his transcendental form, qualities and pastimes, thinking them to be material, that is offensive. Similarly, to think the names of the demigod, the Lord Shiva, to be as good as the name of Lord Vishnu, or in other words, to think Lord Shiva and the other demigods to be other forms of God, and therefore equal to Vishnu, is also blasphemous. This is the second offense at the lotus feet of the Lord. The third offense at the lotus feet of the holy name, which is called Gurur Abhagyan, is to consider the spiritual master to be material and therefore envy his exalted position. The fourth offense, Sudhishastra Nindanam, is to blaspheme Vedic literatures such as the four Vedas and the Puranas. The fifth offense, Tadharthavada, is to consider the glories of holy name to be exaggerations. Similarly, the sixth offense, Harinama Namni Kalpanam, to consider the holy name of the Lord to be imaginary. Seventh offense is described as follows: Namna Balat Jasya hi Papa Buddhir Na Vidyati Tasya Jasmerihi Suddhir. To think that since Hare Krishna mantra can counteract all sinful reactions. One may therefore go on with the sinful activities and at the same time chant Hare Krishna mantra to neutralize the greatest offense at the lotus feet of Harinam. The eighth offense is stated thus: dharma, vrata, tyaga, putadi, sarva subha kriya, samyang apihi pramadaha. It is offensive to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra to be a religious ritualistic ceremony. Performing religious ceremonies, following vows and practicing renunciation and sacrifice are all materialistic auspicious activities. The chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra must not be compared to such materialistic religiosity. This is an offense at the lotus feet of the Lord. Ninth offense is described as follows: asradhane vimukhe api asrunoti jas chopadesaha shivanama paradho. It is an offense to preach the glories of the holy name among persons who have no intelligence or no faith in the subject matter. Such people should be given the chance to hear the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, but in the beginning they should not be instructed about the glories of the spiritual significance of the holy name. By constant hearing of the holy name, their hearts will be purified, and then they will be able to understand the transcendental position of the holy name. The 10th offense is as follows: Shruti api namo mahatme jah priti rahito naraha aham mamadi paramam namni sopi aparadha kruda. If one has heard the glories of the transcendental holy name of the Lord, but nevertheless continues in a materialistic concept of life, thinking, I am this body, and everything belonging to this body is mine, aham mameti, and doesn't show respect and love for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is an offense. We have function. Here, Kaviraj Goswami says, Srila Kaviraj, Krishna naam kare aparadhir vichar, Krishna bolile aparadhir na hoye vikar. There are offenses to be considered while chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, simply by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, one doesn't become ecstatic because he commits offense. Therefore, 10 offenses are there. We discuss, and those who have accepted Guru, have been initiated by Harinam, taken Harinam. Guru has told about that, the 10 offenses. And here in the purport, my revered spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, also says something. 10 offenses. In offense. Do you understand? Offenseless chanting. Offenseless chanting. There should be no offense at all. If someone can chant the Hare Krishna mantra without offense, then that will be pure name. Pure name is not different from Krishna. Abhinnatvang namo namino. Nama and Nami, the name of the Lord and Lord himself are not different. Non-different. So, pure name means Krishna. You understand? Thereby, the chief result of this chanting holy name is to get Krishna Prem. You understand? Krishna Prem. And Krishna is bound up with that Prem. Krishna is bound up with that Prem. That means one will get Krishna. When one can chant pure name, then it gets Krishna. That is the supreme perfection of our human life. Supreme perfection of our human life. That is, one should understand this thing. So this is the aim. So Guru says this thing. You chant offenselessly and don't commit any offense, any namaparad. You understand? And Guru gives you this mala and instructs you to chant in this way. Instead of all these things, if someone doesn't pay attention to it, is not serious enough to chant the holy name without offense, his chanting is useless. If he goes on chanting for crores of lives like this, koti janama, khore jo dinama kitto, crores of lives, still nothing. You never get Krishna. Praying, useless. It's committing offense. You understand? It's committing offense. Then the question is that most of us are committing offenses. You understand? So there are three stages. Offensive stage, and second stage is conscious of offenses. Intermediary stage. Third is offenseless stage. Three stages. So in offensive stage, when he's committing offense, still is chanting what he gets. What he gets, that's question. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur has answered that. Because in any way one may chant this holy name, he must get result. Dharma, artha, kam, moksha. Do you understand? Religiosity, economic development, material sense gratification, and liberation. These are known as four purusarthas, chaturvarga. Do you understand? But our aim is fifth purusartha, is Krishna, prem. That's our aim. And the pure name will give you that thing. The fifth purusartha, Krishna prem, that is Krishna. That is our purpose of chanting. Do you understand? So, if someone commits offense, in other words, his chanting is offensive, what he gets? He gets these three, dharma, artha, kam. Do you understand? Dharma, artha, kam. That means holy name will fulfill all the material desires. Do you understand? Yes. Material desires. Holy name will fulfill. But he can never get prem. Can never get prem, and also he can never get mukti. No liberation also. He'll get only these three. Dharma, artha, kam. Do you understand? No mukti. And what to speak of prem? No. And immediately he'll get the result of namaparad. Do you understand? The result of namaparad is to go to hell. It's go to hell. That you will get. Do you understand, Mr. John? Yes. Then, when mukti is attained, that's another question. That is intermediary stage. That's namavasa stage. Do you understand? One is conscious of offenses, and is not committing any new offense. Is very serious, careful, and conscious, and not committing any new offense, and is trying to eradicate the offenses he has previously committed one after another. That is the namabhas stage, the intermediary stage. When one attains that stage, he gets all his reactions of his karma, sinful reaction, everything is completely destroyed. Karma phala dhunsa. And he will get mukti. Do you understand? This Ajamila attained that stage. Do you understand? Ajamila attained that stage. At the time of death, when Jamdutas came, he uttered the name of Narayan. He called his son, his name was Narayan. Thereby he didn't commit this offense, Nambali Papa Buddhi. You understand? Nambala Papa. To commit sin, that is strength of chanting holy name. He didn't commit that. So he attained Namabhasa stage. Therefore, Vishnudutas came. He got mukti. Do you understand? He didn't die. He didn't die. He didn't go to Jama's abode. That we discussed many times. You understand? So, that is intermediate stage. That is Namabhasa stage. The highest or ultimate stage, this high stage is Niraparad. Niraparad. Now. Chanting without offense. Offenseless chanting. That is high stage. Then that's pure name. That is pure name. At that stage, pure name will come out. Pure name will come out. Pure name means it's not different from Krishna. That means one will get Krishna. One will get prem in which Krishna is bound up. So, Nama Parad, he will get all these things, but he can never get prem. Never get prem. And result of Nama Parad means go to hell. Immediately, you'll get that result. You'll go to hell. You understand? That Bhaktivinoda Thakur has answered this thing. Another question is this. Some Vaishnava, do you understand? If some Vaishnava thinks like this, that he sees a very beautiful young woman, maiden, and he developed some, what do you say, erotic tension. Do you understand? So he thought of, all right, if I can make this young girl as my disciple, giving her Harinam, and can I make a disciple, then she'll become Vaishnavi. She'll chant Harinam. I am Vaishnava. And she becomes Vaishnavi. Then both of you will together chant Harinam. Then I will accept her service. So there will be no harm. Do you understand? And again, moreover, I am Vaishnava and she becomes Vaishnavi. This is a rare opportunity, and we both of will stay together and develop this, what is this, Radha Bhav or Gopi Bhav. This type of intention someone possesses and does so, he commits a great offense. Great offense. Nama Parad. Do you understand? Commit a great offense, Nama Parad. That it says. That is the last limit of aparad, parakasta. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, last limit of this committing aparad, parakasta. Do you understand, Mr. John? Yes. So grievous. Then ninth offense we say pramada dosa. What is that pramada dosa? Pramada dosa means while you are chanting your name, holy name in the beads, your mind is hovering hither and thither, and you are not concentrating your mind on the beautiful form of Radha Krishna, or concentrating your mind on transcendental sound vibration. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, mind is hovering hither and thither. From New York to London, London to Sydney. Like this. Mr. John. So many ways hovering. So many thoughts are haunting in your mind at the same time as chanting. That is offensive. Do you understand? Therefore, while chanting in the beat, you should concentrate on beautiful form, Radha and Krishna. So we chant before the beautiful form, before deities, before the photo, or anything. Or chant loudly and concentrate your mind to the transcendental sound vibration. This is our instruction. So if someone cannot do this thing, then he commits aparad, offense. And I have to chant 16 rounds. Now, very often he is just looking at his mala. Oh, how many rounds are there? How many beats are there? Oh, well, this are now half and 8. What is that? 8 malas rest. Oh, again chant, again chant. Looking at the mala, looking at the middle portion, when it will be finished, this is offense. This is offense. And most of the devotees do like that. They commit offense. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. You understand? Yes. Understood not. While looking at Mara, when it will finish, why? He's chanting, go on chanting. Feel ecstasy. You understand? You feel ecstasy. Such ecstasy you'll feel, you'll forget yourself. But your mind is not there. Your mind is how? I'll just finish, then I'll go here, slaughtering or sleeping or enjoying something. You are thinking like that. This is offensive. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. That is pramad dosh. That is why we cannot develop Krishna prema. This is first obstruction. First obstruction. You have already eradicated other aparadhas, nama aparadhas. But if this aparadha is there, you cannot develop prema. Cannot develop taste. Chanting and cannot develop prema. This is the reason why you cannot develop taste in chanting. Why you cannot develop attraction towards it. This is the reason. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Most important. You understand? And you are not committing any other aparadhas. You are very conscious, already eradicated all those aparadhas. But this aparadha is there. So you cannot develop in taste in chanting. You cannot develop prema. No. That Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. This is the reason. Then third nama aparadha, Gurbhagya. What is the third nama aparadha? Huh? Oh yes. That it says here. Third offense at the lotus feet of the holy name, which is called Gururabhagya, is to consider the spiritual master to be material, and therefore envy his exalted position. This is third offense. Disobey the orders and instruction of Guru. And thinking that Guru as a material being, ordinary human being. You understand? And envy also. Envy is exalted position also. That is third offense. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if someone will think, oh, this Guru only knows something about name, Nam Tattva. He doesn't know. He doesn't know any other Tattva. He doesn't know other Vedanta, Upanishad, so many Shastra, Tattva. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. You understand? Those who know Vedanta Darshan, you understand? They are much elevated persons, more elevated persons. And those persons are more elevated than this Guru who knows only Nam Tattva. You understand? Those who think like that, they commit this offense. This third offense. They commit this third offense. Gurubhagya. You understand? Because one who knows the Nam Tattva, he knows everything. Because Nam is the highest thing in Vedic literature. You understand? Name is the highest thing. Many times we quote that thing. Madhuram madhuram metan mangalam mangalanam sakala nigama bali chitpalam satsurpam. Chitsurpam, that's it. We say it. Sakala nigam bali. Satpalam chitsurpam. Name is the highest thing. The highest fruit, ripened fruit of Vedic tree. The one who knows Nam Tattva, how is it that he doesn't know the other things? Such type of thinking is offensive. You understand? Great offense. Thereby, you deride your Nam Tattva Guru. You understand? Nam Guru. You think himself to be inferior than other acharyas, persons. tattvavits. You understand? So he cannot become your guru. He becomes inferior now on your calculation or measurement. This is offensive. You understand? Another question is, so how can one consider the guru or think of him? You understand? So that is it. Asadyam mam vijanyam naman karichis namarti vidyasveta sarvadeva maya guru. That Krishna says in 11th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam to Uddhava. Now one is Acharya is as good as myself. Sakshat dharitena samasta sastri, Gurvastava is as good as Hari. Do you understand? He is Asra Vigro Bhagavan, Servitor Bhagavan. Guru is Servitor Bhagavan. He is the same level with the Hari. Same level. Is most intimate, most dear and intimate associate of Mukunda, Krishna. Mukunda Pristha. You understand? One should not think that Acharya, Guru, as an ordinary human being, as a mortal being. Should not think. Krishna Swarup Sakti Pusta Krishna Parikar. Mukunda Pristha, very intimate, very dear to Krishna. So one should have this, what to say, thinking. One should think like this. And so will offer bhakti at the lotus feet of that Guru. But one should not think Guru as Krishna. That is Mayavadi's mata. Mayavadis think like that. That's not Vaishnava process. Vaishnava philosophy. That's Mayavadi's mata, opinion. Vaishnava thinks is Asra Vigra Bhagavan, is Servitor Bhagavan. Krishna is Vishwa Vigra Bhagavan. That is the purport of Sakshat Dharitri, Samasta Sastri, is as good as Hari. You understand? It is very dear, very intimate. That we discuss about Lord Shiva. Then, another question is there. The devotee came, accepted Guru, and became initiated, properly initiated. Still, why is falling down from the path of devotion and service? Why is falling down? Why is drifted away? What offense? That's 10th offense. 10th offense. That is 10th offense. Yes, he says. Yes. Yes, that is 10th offense. That is it. If one has heard the glories of the transcendental holy name of the Lord, but nevertheless continues in a materialistic concept of life, thinking, I am this body, and everything belonging to this body is mine, aham mameti, don't show respect and love for the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is an offense. You understand? That is offense. That is 10th offense. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this is the reason why he is drifted away from this path, why he cannot make any advancement. Rather he falls down. Aham mamit, I and mine. It is very great in him. You understand? There is nothing that I can say mine. Everything belongs to Krishna. Amar bolite Prabhu ar kichu na. Isn't it? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Amar bolite Prabhu ar kichu na. There is nothing that I can say mine. No, everything belongs to Krishna. I belong to him. He is my eternal master. I am his eternal servant. Isn't it? I belong to him. Everything belongs to him. And nothing that I can say mine. You understand? So this is a great offense. Hmm. Right? If one has heard the glories of the transcendental holy name, the Lord, but nevertheless continues materialistic conceit of life, thinking, I am this body and everything belonging to this body is mine, ahamameti, is ours. So give up this. You understand? Give up this. No, everything belongs to Krishna. I belong to Krishna. This body belongs to Krishna. This body is meant for Krishna's service. It's not my body. You understand? This is not my body. This is a paraphernalia for Krishna's service. This is the attitude. This should be the conception. Do you understand? This should be the conception. Otherwise, you'll commit offense. If one cannot give up this, it's definite. He must fall down. He will be drifted away from this path of devotional service. He cannot make any advancement. He cannot make any advancement. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, this is the reason why. You understand? This is the reason why one cannot make any advancement and why he falls down. He has not given up this aham mameti, this delusion, moha. Moha. You understand? Moha. This is very serious. We have only one relationship. This relationship with Krishna. No other relationship. Saito samande samanda amar. Saito samande samanda amar, Vaishnava Acharya says. We have only one relationship. That is the relationship with Krishna. There is only one relationship. All are related to Krishna. All are related to Krishna. There is no question of bodily relationship. You understand? The bodily relationship is offensive. There arises I and mine. Otherwise, there is no question of I and mine. Isn't it? No question of I and mine. As long as you are in the bodily consciousness of life, so there is I and mine. Isn't it? As long as you are, so you are in that conception, I and mine. As soon as you give up this I and mine, you go beyond this bodily conception, so no question of I and mine. At that time you'll see, everything belongs to Krishna, I belong to Krishna. Nothing, there is nothing that I can say this is mine, I and mine. This bodily conception of life. Do you understand? Yes. To go beyond this bodily conception of life. That is instruction in Bhagavad Gita to Krishna, Arjuna, isn't it? Krishna gave this instruction to Arjuna. Trigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistrigunya Ho Arjuna. Go beyond the three modes of middle nature. Do you understand? Go beyond these three modes of middle nature. So there is no question of I and mine. Everything belongs to him. I can say, he is my friend, he is my relative, he is my father, he is my mother. Huh? Isn't it? He is my family man, he is my countryman. Where is this question? Huh? Huh? Na kau samsa. Agak mau samudi perase. Na kau samto singar. Agak samudi aja. What is this question? You can understand. This bodily relationship. You ask some singer, who is he? Some say, my samudi. You know samudi? Don't you know? Your son and his daughter married. So you become samudi. Do you understand? What do you say in English? You know? Your son and his daughter married. Do you understand? So Both of you become Samudhi. We say Samudhi. No word in English. Yes, therefore I say. There is no such word in English. You understand? You ask some singer, you say, who is he? I is my Samudhi. We have developed this relationship. His son and my daughter are married. So we are Samudhi. This is body relationship. You understand? But we have no such thing. We are all related to Krishna. Krishna is Ekamatra only relationship, Mukhya Sambandha, chief relationship. And all are related to Krishna. Everything is related to Krishna. Chaitya Sambandha, Sambandha Hama. And we have that relationship only, not other, nobody relationship. Then there will be no question of I and mine. Then you will commit, you will never commit such offense. Otherwise you will commit this offense. Otherwise you will commit this offense. You cannot make an advancement, rather you will fall down. Drifted away in this path. And today, yes, 10 will begin. This Snan Yatra, let me say something to English, so you cannot hear this thing. Jagannath Dev Snan Yatra, bathing. Publicly they will bathe. Jagannath Dev will bathe publicly today. Why? Is he not bathing? Only once a year he is bathing? Every day. Pujari, bathing, isn't it? Isn't that? Why this public bathing today? You didn't know. Yes? What is that pastime? What is the significance of this day today? This Purnima, full moon day, Jyeshtha Purnima. Jyeshtha Purnima, full moon day of month of Jyeshtha. Jyeshtha Purnima. This is known as Snan Purnima. Purnima means full moon. You understand, Mr. John? Try to learn these Sanskrit words. Because today is full moon day, Purnima, Jyeshtha Purnima. This month is Jyeshtha. From tomorrow, the Ashadha month will begin. Do you understand? Hello. So this auspicious day is just a Purnima day, is known as Snan Purnima. Jagannath Snan Purnima. Public bathing. Snan Mandap is there, elevated platform. Have you gone to Puri? Have you seen Snan Mandap? Why I am not seen? And he will come, he has already come, and sitting there, Baladev, Subhadra, and bed. Public bathing. Because this is the birthday of Jagannath. Yeah, that is a question. Jagannath birth, yes. Jagannath is Krishna, isn't it? The birthday of Krishna is Janmashtami in Bhadrava. Krishnastami, not this day. Is it different from Krishna? They're not different from Krishna. You understand? Not different from Krishna. And he is Krishna, Baladeva is Balaram, and Subhadra is sister. Sons and daughters of Vasudeva and Devaki. Is different from Krishna. Not different from Krishna. So Krishna's birthday, appearance day, is Bhadrava Krishnastami. Is Janmashtami. How is this day is birthday of Jagannath? Now, Jagannath appeared in this Daru Brahma Rupa in this day. You understand? So this is considered birthday of Jagannath. Daru Brahma, this Rupa, this form. In Jagannath Puri Dham, in that temple, Brahma came. Indradumna built the temple. Indradumna Maharaj built the temple. He was previously worshipped as Nila Madhav. How Indradumna knew this thing, how he was brought and has floated in a form of daru, log of wood. And how himself came and These forms are carved out. Do you understand? And Indradimna went to Brahma Lok, Satya Lok. Do you understand? To invite Brahma to come. Do you understand? Many yugas in the meantime passed. Many yugas passed. Many yugas, many, thousands. Do you understand? Huh? One day of Brahma means 2,000 times the all yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali to come. Then one day of Brahma. 2,000 times. Many yugas. He was there. You understand? Such is the time difference is there. So he went there to invite Brahma to come and install deities. You understand? Deity installations. Temple will be opened. So Brahma came, installed deities, temple opened. So this is the day. This day. So this is the birthday of Jagannath. Therefore it's known as. You understand, Mr. John? Huh? Yes. You cannot calculate. No.
I thought they say it's only 5,000 years old.
No. Many. You understand? Yes.
And they say each time they make a new Jagannath out of wood, they take something out of the other.
You see, that is once in a 12 year. Once in a 12 year, when this Asada month, this Rathayatra comes in, takes place in the month of Asada, there are two Asadas. One leap year, you know, extra month. When Asada becomes double, that comes once in 12 years. So that year becomes new body, Jagannath's new body. This is Navakaleva.
I could have said they take something from the old Jagannath and put it in the new one.
Something there at the navel.
What is that?
What is that? Oh, why do you bother that? What is that? You see. So this is the birthday, this day. You understand? This is all mentioned in Skanda Puran. Vyasdeva has written that Puran. It's called Skanda Puran. Skanda Puran is the greatest Puran. It's big volume, very big volume. You understand? 36,000 verses are there. Bhagavatam, Mahapurana, it has 18,000 verses. But Skanda Purana has 36,000 verses. Very big volume. So in the Skanda Purana there is one volume named Utkala Khanda. You understand? Utkala Khanda. You understand? Many khandas, many volumes. Prabhasa Khanda, Reba Khanda, similarly Utkala Khanda. You understand? So in Utkala Khanda, everything relating to this Purushottam Dham, Jagannath, everything is there. Skanda Purana Utkala Khanda. You understand, Mr. John? Yes, Vyasdeva has written that. Do you understand? Many things are written. How to take Pahandi Bije, how to bathe, and how to bring back like this. Many things are there. And after this bathing, when Jagannath will come back, he'll never give darshan now. For 15 days, he'll never give darshan. Why he'll not give darshan? No. Vyasdeva has not written that. You have heard that. Many say so, but Vyasdeva hasn't written that thing. No. Why he'll become sick, you see? It's transcendental body. Why cold will catch? Do you understand? Transcendental body. The metal body will catch cold. Do you understand? That's not written that thing. Do you understand? That's a hearsay only. That's not that. That's not the fact. That's not the fact. Because when you see Jagannath, you should see Jagannath in nice form. all dressed nicely, ornamented, nicely decorated, very nice looking, beautiful. That's Jagannath Darshan. Don't look at Jagannath and have the darshan of Jagannath, the naked body. You understand? That is offensive. That will be offensive if someone will see that. You understand? So when there is excessive bathing, you understand? Some colors fade away, something is there. It doesn't look good. Therefore, 15 days is there. New coloring, new dressing, everything new. They will come out with new figure, new beauty, everything. New appearance, very nice looking. Therefore, it doesn't give darshan. That's known as anavasara. At that time, nobody is allowed to see. And if someone will see, and then he will commit offense. Commit offense. Yes. Yes. That was there was written in Skanda Purana.
Why specifically the Lord comes to Jagannath? Why does he come
Why in this form? Yes, that is mentioned. That is Mahabhava Prakash. Mahabhava Prakash. In Dwarka, once in Dwarka, you see, is Krishna. Radharani is very intimate. Is Krishna's Dwarka Leela is Aishwarjama Leela. You understand? What do you say? Opulent. You understand? Not Madhurjama Leela. You understand? Vrindavan Leela is Madhurjama Leela. What do you say in English? I can't say. Dancing with cowherd girls, with jungle of Vrindavan, very sweet. Madhurja, you understand? But in Dwarka, he is young man. He married 16,000 wives. You understand? So that's opulent Leela, Aishwarjama Leela, not Madhurya. Do you understand? Madhurya Leela is only in Vrindavan. Do you understand? Only in Vrindavan. And it's always there. So, when in Dwarka, though there are Rukmini, Jambavati, Satyabhama, Lakshmana, so many wives are there, all serving Krishna, trying their best to give pleasure to Krishna, isn't it? Still Krishna is always thinking of Radharani. You understand? Sometimes in the dream, oh, Radhe, 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 he's dreaming. They hear, why, who is that Radha? We are serving Krishna with so much, taking so much care, giving him so much pleasure. Why you think that Radha is thinking of Radha, Radha, Radha? What is that? But they cannot understand this thing. So once they ask, who is it? Mother of Baladev, Rohini Mata. Who is that Radha? And Rohini Mata says, oh, you cannot understand this thing. That is the pastime of Krishna in Vrindavan, you see, Brajbhumi. Oh, that is very confidential and very sweet pastime. That is Madhurjama Leela. All right, when you ask, I'll give a narration. You understand? Describe, but she cautioned. All right, you all together sit here in this big hall. You understand? I'll give a description, narration, but one should watch there at the doorstep that Krishna and Balaram should not come and hear this thing. Do you understand? If they will come and hear, then everything will be finished. Do you understand? They should not hear. So they requested Subhadra Devi. Do you understand? You please go and stand at the doorstep and watch that Krishna and Balaram will not come. And if they are coming, you just give a sign to us. They are coming. I will stop narration. So Subhadra stood there in the middle of the doorstep, stretching her hand like this, barring the passage. You understand? But narration was so nice, sweet, ecstatic. All were hearing. I say, being enchanted. You understand? And Subhadra Devi was lending her ear. You understand? And she was enchanted also. She forgot herself, her own existence. You understand? So that is bhav, ecstatic mood. So legs and hands pushed inside. Pushed inside. Her legs are like this, pushed inside. So you'll find no hands. You understand, Subhadra? Why? It's pushed inside. Stretched outside, so pushed inside, legs inside, eyes dilated. It's bhav stage. So Krishna and Balaram came. You understand? And Krishna on this side, Balaram on this side stood. They are learning. And Subhadra is already in ecstatic. They couldn't. Information is the. They heard what is going on. They heard such a nice story. It's Vrindavan pastimes. Rohini Mata was narrating. So both of them have the same feeling, became ecstatic. Yeah? So this legs and hands pushed inside. So their hands are like this, pushed inside. Legs like this. But Subhadra's hands are like this, pushed inside. So no hands. They're like this. Do you understand? And eyes dilated. Mahabhav stage. This Mahabhav. Do you understand? Mahabhav Prakash. So in this time, Narada Muni was coming. Narada Muni was coming to birth. From a distance, Narada Muni saw this beautiful appearance, manifestation. Do you understand? Three forms. Jagannath, Baladev, in the middle of Subhadra. When he came closer, when Narada Muni came closer, they, what do you say? Bhav Samvaran kale. They gave up that ecstatic bhav and became their usual feature. Do you understand? Usual form. But Narada said, I have already seen those ecstatic form of yours. So he requested the Lord, please, this is, I pray to you, this is my request, please this form should be manifested and you will be worshipped in this form. And Krishna granted, all right. So that this is Skanda Purana. You understand? So that is it all. Mahabhav stage. You understand, Mr. Jones? Yes. Thank you. You are hearing Krishna Katha. This is Vrindavan pastimes. Yes. Is Leela, Gopis, Radharani, Gopi. You understand? Covered boy like this, so sweet. Yes. That is Mahabhav. Mahabhav. That is there in Skanda Purana, and one poet was there that's known as Kanhai Khuntia here in Orissa. He has written a booklet on this topic. Mahabhav Prakash, Kanhai Khuntia. Great about your Lord Jagannath Krishna. You understand, Mr. John? Yes. Mahabhav Prakash.
Conundrum. One will become ecstatic,
Yes.
and then by chanting
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, one becomes free of offenses.
Yes, because Nityananda, Chaitanya Nityananda never minds for offense. Because they are Audharja Vigraha. Wonderfully magnanimous. You understand? The excuse of offenses. Krishna never excuses.
So that when I became a devotee, they said you should chant this before chanting the Maha Mantra.
Yes, first chant, then begin Mahamantra. Because they will, what do you say, excuse the offense.
So why don't we just chant Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita
Huh?
Gadadhara? Why don't we chant this mantra? Just this mantra.
Just this mantra, that is not Mahamantra, that is Panchatattva. But you have to chant Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Can you chant that on your beads as well after chanting 16 rounds? Can you chant this mantra?
Yeah, each time you chant,
Just each time.
each time. After finishing one round, chant this Panchatattva, then chant Hare Krishna. Then after finishing another round, chant again.
Just one time.
Yes.
Because one Prabhupada disciple gave a lecture one time.
Mm.
And he said after completing his 16 rounds of Maha Mantra,
Mm.
he chants 1 full rounds of just Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
After 4 rounds?
After 16 rounds, he's finished his Maha Mantra.
Mm.
Then he'll chant a whole 108 rounds.
After
times.
16 rounds,
Yes.
one cannot chant 16 rounds at a stretch. Can you
No.
chant 16 rounds at a stretch?
No, he chants his 16 rounds normally. And then he advised everyone after they've finished their 16 rounds, they chant Jai Sri Krishna.
This is impossible. Nobody can chant 16 rounds at a stretch. Mind is so fickle. You understand? Mind is very fickle. Mm. If someone can chant, very nice. He's such a controlled person. He has full control over his mind. Yes, he has achieved some perfection. Yes, he has achieved some perfection. It's controlled mind. So he can chant, sit down and chant, he gets ecstasy. So there will no fluctuation of mind. And he gets pleasure and ecstasy. That's very nice, that's your goal. But for you, after each round you chant. Just for you. You understand? Yes. That is for us. Yes. I have to go and finish my work and because it's not